This is GrantTalk, hosted by Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants.
Hi, everybody. I'm Libby Hikind, and I'm your host at GrantTalk, powered by GrantWatch. And today we are going to speak with someone behind the grant. Let's find out what Traci Lanier from 10,000 Degrees organization has to tell us about her organization and her grant writing history. So welcome, Traci. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Traci, your organization is called 10,000 Degrees, and that is a very unique name for a nonprofit. So what do you do?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. 10,000 Degrees helps close the educational opportunity gap for students from low-income communities, helping them get to and through college and beyond. Our name actually stems from our vision of helping put 10,000 students on the path to a college degree through every community that we serve.
And what communities are that?
Good question. We work here in Northern California. We were founded about 40 years ago, just north of the Golden Gate Bridge, but now reach students throughout San Francisco Bay Area counties.
So do they have to be a resident of California? What if they just fly down and get an apartment? They haven't been there long.
Right. Well, our work really starts in our local high schools. So as long as students have attended one of our local high schools, we would consider them, in our local and eligible for our services.
Mm-hmm. So the local high schools, we used to call them feeder schools.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're in the local high school, and then where do you come in?
Right. Well, we really work to help students get, again, to and through college. So a big part of that is the financing for college. So we work at our local high schools to demystify the college process for families and students, but especially we lean in on helping students get financial aid. So completing the federal application for student aid or the California applications, and then apply for scholarships. So 10,000 Degrees also provides nearly $8 million in scholarships for students once they get to college.
So they get money from many different places to pay the tuition. So you help them with
Exactly.
the FAFSA, is that correct?
The FAFSA, yes.
And what's the state one called?
The state one is called the California Dream Act application. And there's a lot of free money for students to make college affordable. So we want to ensure they get as much of that as they're eligible for.
I remember when my children were applying for college, there was a whole package you can get. The tuition was outrageous, but okay, don't worry. You can get money from here. You can get money from here and here and here. Wow, it's really out there. People didn't know about that.
Yeah,
some of
it
that
can be very complex. Yeah.
Yes, very complex.
Yeah.
The first time I looked at the FAFSA, I was like, okay, let me call our accountant. I wasn't going to touch it. I was so afraid of it. But a lot of people don't have that.
Well, and you can imagine if your first language isn't English, or just everybody getting intimidated by the really invasive questions that are asked to qualify for some of the aid. So we try to smooth that process and make it as streamlined and safe and easy for our students.
Okay, so you come into the schools, you provide this counseling. It's really very high-level guidance counseling. And then what? Do you follow the students through their college?
We do. So students would apply for our scholarship, and then we pair our scholarship with near-peer mentors who we stick with the students from the day they accept their college admission all the way to graduation and beyond. Our near-peer mentors are often actually alumni of our program who've graduated college, and they come back to help other people in their community go through the same journey. So it's an amazing model and community to really ensure that students don't just get to college, but that they make it all the way through.
And what happens if somebody's more apt for vocational education or two-year college?
Yeah, nearly 40% of our students start at community college, which in California is a 2-year degree, and they have a lot of technical certifications like firefighting and culinary arts, certified nursing assistance programs. So we want to help students on whatever their vision is for education after high school, because we really know that higher education is what's going to break the cycle of poverty for our students and our communities.
Definitely. Definitely. I highly agree. So, what's your background? How did you get into this?
Well, I've actually been with the organization for 20 years, just over 20 years, and came in honestly thinking that we were a much smaller organization, and I came in to help with fundraising, thinking that raising money for education had to be the easiest thing in the world because who wouldn't support education? So I'm still here. It's not easy, but it's a lot of fun.
You're still here. You're still looking for money.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're the vice president now. Is that correct?
I am. Yeah, I've played a number of roles in the organization, but always had a component of my role with our grant writing, donor relations. I also oversee our scholarship program. So, among other things, it's great. The service that the GrantWatch provides is one of our key sort of technology partners in the work that we do day to day.
Oh, I like that. Technology partner. We never even use that expression. We're going to use it from now on. I like it.
Oh, good. Well, it's hard to, we need these kind of tools to do our work and to just make what can be a really arduous process more streamlined or have a go-to reference when we're trying to look up something new. So,
And we add new grants every day. So you have to stay current, right? If you're not current, you're just missing things
yes,
that would help. Right. So tell me about your grants.
exactly. We actually have an amazing volunteer who's our GrantWatch expert. She came in and wanted to help, but didn't want to do any phone calls. She didn't want to like call donors and thank them or anything. She likes doing kind of behind the scenes.
Hmm.
And so she's been our GrantWatch monitor and keeps up on all the new things that come through and forwards them our way. So
Well,
one of our grants through
I,
GrantWatch is,
I was that way. When I was writing grants, I didn't want to call the foundations. That was not my thing. I don't like to ask people for money. And when people asked me to help fundraise, sometimes I just put my own dollars in because I didn't like to make those phone calls. And some people just, it's not their
yeah,
thing. I wanted to find grants that were
which is
currently
fun.
available. And that's how we built the website based on what was my interest. Now, years later, we added the 990s so that you can do those phone calls through GrantWatch. You have that available.
Yeah.
So, what's the name of this wonderful person?
Our amazing volunteer is Linda Steck, and she is so reliable and thoughtful and has helped us really maximize how we use the GrantWatch tool. So we're so grateful.
So, who got to keep the coffee mug when it came?
Well, I understand there's some debate, a little joint custody. We might need to request another. Our
Yes.
director of institutional,
Well, you've gotten enough grants, I hear, that you deserve another cup. So, send us an email.
well, thank you. We will.
Okay. So tell us about your grants because I heard that there's a lot of them that you've earned. You've been awarded $85,000 from 4 grants that you found on
Yes.
GrantWatch.
Hmm. That's correct. Well, the biggest one is the Weinberg Foundation, and that really came into play as we were expanding into a new community. So originally we were sort of San Francisco and north, and the San Jose area was newer to us, and we didn't have the same kinds of relationships there that we have with other funders in our existing communities. So through GrantWatch, we were able to identify some funders that were focused on education and the South Bay, San Jose area. And Weinberg was one of the first that we had the opportunity to receive. And that really helped springboard our work in that community.
So when you wrote the grant, what did you tell them you were going to use the funds for? Do you remember?
Gosh, I'd have to go back and look specifically, but I imagine it was, to expand our proven model of working with high school students on financial aid into some new high schools. We were really looking for kind of some seed funding. Felt like we had the track record, just not in that region. So
Mhm.
it was great. They sort of took a chance on us and made that investment.
So you had the model and they recognized that you had the right model.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And then What are the three others?
Speedway Children's Charity, which is out of Sonoma County. Sonoma Raceway is their anchor. And what's special about that one is the Sonoma community is a very tight-knit community. There's a lot of students who need support, but anytime we can connect really a local donor with that work, it's a really special partnership. So that's a very special one. The Cisco grant, as I'm looking at it, I don't think we actually got the grant, but what happened was it began a relationship where we now have someone on our advisory board from Cisco, and it became a sponsorship for a small event. So it's a little bit of a sideways, but still a great benefit of just, putting a grant application out there, and other things can come of it, even if you don't get exactly what you
developed the
asked
relationship.
for. So that's an amazing part.
Right. You developed a relationship.
Exactly.
And that's going to carry you through. And when they have funding, it's going to come.
Exactly.
And the other one?
So the other one is Hearst, which has been a prior funder, and I'm just looking at my list now. They are also, supporting our work in San Francisco directly, and we actually have a pending renewal with them right now, so fingers crossed.
Right. That's the way to go. If you keep in touch, you send pictures and communicate, you're more apt to get refunded the next year and the next year and so on. You're just on their list and you're easy.
Yeah.
They don't really have to start investigating you, whatever. They've seen your work and they've decided to keep you on. So that is the way to go. So what's pending right now?
Well, let's see. We have a few pending. Like I said, the renewal with Hearst. We are preparing applications for Mary Crocker and the Dreyfus Foundation. And we got a couple rejections from Dr. Scholl and the TJX Foundation. But, we always tell the team, we put our name out there. They know who we are now, and we just will keep, building on that. So even a no, I think isn't always a no. It's a not right now. It's our approach.
That's great. No is a not right now. And what do you do with the grant application? Because that's what I always tell people. Don't throw anything out.
Yeah. We reuse a lot. So I heard in one of your prior podcasts talking about AI, but trying to figure out how to be efficient in our grant applications, but also personal to what is important to the donor. So that's the sort of the mix our grant team is going for. So how do we reuse what we can, but also really make sure it's personal and impactful for the funder, so they can really feel the impact that they're making.
Matching their mission with yours and seeing how you work together. It's a dance.
Exactly.
It's a dance, really. And you don't want to ever apply for something that you don't want to do. So you have to be careful.
Yes.
Right? Where do you start?
Yes.
Where do you start building your grant? Where's your first place?
Well, we identify some organizational priorities that we need funded. Our biggest, the best grants are just general operating support. If we ever find those are special. But yes. So then for us, a lot of it comes down to the different regions that we work in. We just have different funding sort of portfolios in different regions. So we kind of start with a need in this region. We know where our areas of expertise are in terms of college access, college success, financial aid, and look for fits there. When we get the actual application, start pulling apart, whether it's an LOI, really thinking how can we be thoughtful with the budget to tell the story again of the impact that grant funding would have sort of on our work in that region.
Right. I always start with the budget. That's my place. And then I start writing, and then I add to the budget, or I take something away. But the budget is my foundation.
Right.
Because if it's not in the budget, you're not getting the money anyway. So you don't want to forget something. And you want to make sure you really want to run that program.
Yes.
Because
how you want to run it. So it's, whereas you're doing what your best work, not what a funder is sort of telling you they can take you astray.
Right. You need to stay focused on what your organization is all about. And
Yes,
sometimes you can
exactly.
add a component, but you're right. You don't want to go astray. So, what is your future wish for your organization?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say that we can serve more students. We receive thousands. We received over 6,000 applications for scholarships this year.
Mhm.
We'll be able to award about 4,000. But, that means that all of the students are motivated, likely qualified, determined, and I would wish that we could find ways to support all of them.
And if somebody wanted to support you or ask you a question, how would they find you?
Right. Online on our website, 10,000degrees.org. It's the number 10,000, 1 and 4 zeros, which gets confusing. Like you can lose track.
Right.
So
Don't put
10,000,
any
the number,
commas in.
degrees, no commas, 1, 4 zeros, degrees.org.
Okay. And I just want to share with you that we are very proud of your organization and we're happy to be a part of your students' futures, because that's how I feel, that every time we put up a grant and you take it and apply and get funded, we have a little part in that. And I thank my staff wholeheartedly, because it's their success that breeds your success, and it just goes on and on. One hint that I always tell everybody when you apply or you write a letter of inquiry, list the grants you've already received to show how credible you are. Do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah, I mean, we're often asked about other funders for various projects. So definitely anytime one grantor can help sort of position you with another, it's an important opportunity. So that's a great tip.
And I want to talk to our listeners right now. If you want to hear more from the people behind the grants on GrantTalk, we need you to subscribe on the channel that you're watching us on, like, comment, and share so that we can continue and you can continue to watch these valuable interviews, right? And Traci, keep going. We're very proud of you. Go from strength to strength, serve more students, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you for all your support and your team. So thank
Thank
you for
you.
this.
Thank you for tuning in to Grant Talk, powered by GrantWatch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this GrantWatch channel. Please consider subscribing to GrantWatch.com, and you can find the book, The Queen of Grants, by going to GrantWatch.com/book. Thank you again for spending your time with us.